In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the exact pop-up strategies that we use for our e-commerce clients to take them from a really bad submit rate to over 15 and 20% submit rates. Not only does this mean that you're collecting a lot more email addresses, it also means that you're collecting zero-party data points on these customers that you can then use to personalize the emails, which will lead to higher conversions. So I'm just going to jump right into it, and I'm going to take you through this document that I've put together, which is essentially breaking down exactly why you need a high converting pop-up for your brand, as well as the sort of strategies that you can implement. And then in the next part of this video, I'm going to be taking you through exactly how to build one of these pop-ups in Klaviyo. There are other tools that you can use for building these sort of pop-ups, but I'll just be focusing on Klaviyo for now. So first of all is why having a website pop-up matters, because you might be thinking, oh, I don't really want one of those annoying pop-ups on my website. But for me, being able to collect email addresses and data about your customers and the people who are coming to your site to purchase, not only does that allow you to sort of optimize your ads. So if you can see most people are coming onto your website to sort of help with brain fog, you can then use that data to then make your ads better. So say then you can start doing ads about, you know, how your product helps with brain fog, if you can see the majority of people are coming to your website for that reason. So that's one of the reasons why it's super helpful. And again, you know, making sure like ad costs are going up. So making sure that you're not wasting that money by collecting people's email addresses so you don't then have to retarget them with ads further down the line is something that's super, super useful. So as you can see from this little graphic that I've just put together, you have paid traffic come to your website, and a lot of the time, you know, they'll have problems. They're not going to be converting right away because they've got objections that they need to overcome. So as soon as you can grab their email address, maybe that's, and a lot of the times, yes, you're grabbing the email address with an offer, but if they're not purchasing right away, that allows you to email these customers and overcome objections that they might have, because there's sort of like a trust barrier that they need to overcome a lot of the times before they just purchase right away. So you can see that from this graphic here as well. So scrolling down, you've got, this is the difference between paid ads versus email marketing. So everyone uses email, everyone checks their email every single day. And so it's super important to make sure that you're collecting as many email addresses as possible and making sure that this pop-up is converting as many people as possible is the sort of best way to do that. So just take you through a quick client win of mine. So, you know, they're not getting crazy amounts of website traffic, but we took them from a 2% submit rate. They had a really poorly designed pop-up. It was just, you know, put your email address for 10% off or whatever. And we went and optimized it with the strategy I'm going to go through in this video. And it basically went up from 2% to 27% in the span of a few months. Like we came in maybe in May time, April, May time. And we were also collecting zero-party data about the customers, which allows us to then personalize the first touch point that we make with the customers. So this not only helps with conversion rates, and it just also makes that customer journey feel a lot more personal for that customer who's going to be purchasing. So yeah, this is why the zero-party data matters. As you can see, it's improved, you know, all of these metrics within the welcome series. And yeah, you can see how we split it based on like the interest that they have. So, you know, we can make sure that we're targeting them with the correct content. So I'll go through this when we're actually designing the email, but first you've got to establish your offer. So the thing that we really like testing is lots of different types of offers and pop-up strategies. So we'll test a percentage off versus a mystery discount. What we found, mystery discount does work best. But yeah, it's good to test loads of different types of offers to see what resonates best with your customers. And then you've got the different form types. So you've got ones like this, which is a zero-party data collection. So you collect the zero-party data to begin with, and then you capture their email address. And then you've got ones like a micro commit, which is basically where, you know, would you like 10% off your first order? Yes, no, I'd rather pay full price, because again, you're giving them a sort of a no-brainer offer to sign up. And there's something that's called the commitment fallacy. So as soon as someone is committed to that first step, they're a lot more likely to commit to the second step. So give them something super easy to commit to, like pressing yes or no, I'd rather just pay full price on the product. And then make them put in their email address, they're way more likely to complete that form. So you can see all the different types of forms that you've got here. Again, like this is another tool. This isn't used in Klaviyo. It's used with a tool called Alia. And this basically allows you to educate your customers more. So essentially you've got your, would you like 10% off? And then they can upgrade it if they want to go through the education part. And then you've also got gamification. These also do work really well. So it's like, choose your favorite date character to, claim your discount or whatever. These also work very, very well. I'll run through that another time. But yeah, so this is the A/B testing process. We A/B test the sort of different design types, different strategies of email, different strategies of pop-up, as well as the offers as well. So the mistakes that you need to avoid is making sure that your offer is super clear. Don't have a really unclear offer that no one really knows. Don't have too much copy on the pop-up. It's just too long to read. People aren't going to read it, and it's just going to make people click off because they want to see very clearly. And don't have too much going on either. Like there's just far too much going on in this pop-up, and it's just very, very overwhelming. I will also be linking this in the description so you can actually go through this all in detail yourself. I've just sort of done a quick overview of it. But now I'm just going to jump right into building a pop-up. I'm actually going to be rebuilding a pop-up for Trip, which is a huge CBD drink company in the UK, and their current one is not very good. I mean, it's got clear text, but it's got no strategy to make people want to sort of sign up. It's got no zero-party data collection on it, and the submit button is tiny. So I can't see the back end, but from experience, I know this is not performing as well as it could. So we're just going to dive straight into Klaviyo. So what you want to do is go to sign up forms, and then you're going to want to either use one of the templates that Klaviyo provided, or you can just start from scratch and create a blank one. So let's just choose pop-up and then just this. So what you're going to want to do is, I'm just going to go and style it the way that I think would be best to style it for Trip. And then you can obviously change it to your brand, your branding, and what you think would be best. You can do sort of full screen pop-ups. You can do all of that kind of stuff. So it's just about preference, really. So I'm just going to quickly change the sort of styling and also I'll go through this, but you've got to make sure that you're optimizing for mobile. So you can either clone the pop-up and make it optimized, or I'll show you how to do the sort of optimize for pop-up in this video. So you've got to make sure the right image is desktop only, because if I have it on all devices, you can see it becomes really small, and the email fill out becomes super small. So when you're building it, make sure the image is on mobile desktop only, and then as you can see, it's a lot more clear as to what as to people filling it out. So let's go and use Trip, and let's rebuild a pop-up for Trip. So how do I move this? There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down every sort of element that I'm going to be explaining through why I'm adding certain things and what I'm doing. So what I'm going to start with is I'm not going to do the exact branding of Trip, but it's going to be very similar. Would you like 20% off your first order? And then that's way too big, so let's make that like 32. Maybe I think this is their font here. And then left align it, add some padding, maybe more like 40. And then what we're going to do, no need for that. And then this. So I'm going to do an example of a zero-party data collection pop-up. So first, tell us your main health concern right now. Go to that. Make sure this is all done. And I think Anderson is there. 40. And then, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add in a radio button option. So this is essentially where you're going to be collecting the data. So what you're going to want to do is health concern, like call it, this is the property that's going to be pulling through. And then what you're going to want to do, I've just got some here that I've used before. Make sure you're doing this. Just add, I wouldn't add any more than 4. 4 is probably the most I would add. But anywhere 3, 2, 3, 4 is the sort of sweet spot for the pop-up forms. You can also do quizzes, which work really well for collecting more zero-party data, but that's something I can go through in another video. But yeah, make sure all of the labels match the values when you're building these properties out. So otherwise, it'll be pulling through incorrectly through to Klaviyo when you're going to be segmenting and all of that kind of stuff. So let me just make sure that this is good, and then, sorry, I'm going to move me. Go to styles to make sure it's all being styled correctly. So Anderson, and then we'll make that smaller, it's far too big. And then probably going to use, what are their colors? Something like this, I think is the blue. And then you can do things like change the sort of the border colors or all of that kind of stuff. So you can have a little play around with the different colors. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is have the size of the image is medium, so it's about the same size. Ignore this for now. And then what I'm also going to do actually is add a background image to this pop-up just to make it look a little bit nicer. So if I can, here we go. And then I'm just going to drag in an image that I've used. And then make sure it's cover. There we go. Let me move yourself. So it's coming together a bit. I'm just going to change the color to the dark blue that we used. Dark blue. And then maybe take some of the padding off the bottom there. Okay, now for the buttons. So you want to do submit as one of them, so they know that they're submitting. Let me just optimize this button real quick because it is far too big. Okay, so maybe we're gonna want like I think, and 45, let's do that. And then I think they use that pink that we saw in the pop-up, so we'll do that there. And the blue, and then just change the text to the Anderson and make it normal, not bold. Okay, and then for the second button, so as I mentioned previously, you're going to be basically giving them a reason to submit it and make them feel stupid if they say, you know, that they're not going to sign up their email address. So what you're going to want to do is for this second button, you're going to say no, like I'd rather pay full price or something like that. So something along that makes them feel basically stupid for actually, you know, not putting their email address in. So I'm going to make that just a little bit smaller, change it to this, change the font to Anderson. There we go. So yeah, so, oh, that's got a border for some reason. Let's get rid of that. So there you go. And then just add like, you know, a cool image that you'd like to use on the side. Make sure you're also adding alt text, so like trip image, make sure that's there. So there you go, you've got the first part of the pop-up. So you want to, you know, you've got your, let me just add a bit of padding on this side as well. So you've got your, would you like 20% off your first order? Of course, I'd like 20% off my first order. I don't want to pay full price. But first, you've got to give us something. You've got to tell us your main health concern right now. So if they select, I want to improve my sleep quality, you can then send them a welcome email that's recommending them products or telling them how your product or trip in this example is going to help improve their sleep quality. So you've then got that data on that customer. So, you know, if they're not purchasing right away, you can send campaigns, you can create multiple touch points within the welcome flow and add personalized blocks that tell them exactly how your product will overcome that benefit, that issue that they're having. So yeah, this is the first page Also, very quickly, with the teaser, make sure you've got a teaser, because if they exit out, you've got to make sure that they can go back to it. So make sure you create this teaser. So it's just simply, creating like a background. So I'll just do like this, and then background color, we'll do that pink that we had, and then just something. I'm not going to do too much, but something simple like that. So when they click out of it, make sure that they've got a way to come back to it. And then you've got the opt-in. So I'm going to build this quickly, which is going to be, I'm just going to delete that and clone this just to make it easier. So this section here is, you're just going to get rid of this, and you're going to add in the email input, which is here. Make sure you style it correctly. So go to the styles menu and where's the padding? Why can't I see the padding? Here we go. 240, I think that was it. And then just style it to the brand of your brand. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the border color. So I'm just going to turn that down. And then maybe make the background like a, I don't know, like a light gray or something like that. And then maybe just make it a little bit smaller. Something like that. And then what we can also do is make sure you're adding like a first name, because having a first name is also quite important when you're going to be addressing the customers in subject lines and things like that. It just makes it feel a little bit more personalized, but obviously we do want to go a bit deeper into the personalization. So you want to get rid of that, and then we'd like to turn off the last step to get your 20% off, something like this. And then they just simply have to fill in their email address, or they say no. And you can also change the picture if you want to. You can have multiple different pictures across each section, so it doesn't stay the same throughout, but that's completely down to you. I'm not going to do it in this video, but you can add a section for SMS for people to sign up to SMS. Actually, let me just do one quickly. So what you can do, so if I do SMS opt-in, specifically for the UK, people in the UK are very susceptible and not very interested in signing up to SMS. So what you're going to want to do is give them an option to skip that step completely if you are interested in collecting SMS. So when you do that, it's like, would you like to sign up to our VIP SMS club? Something like that. So, if they want to sign up to their VIP SMS club, and then it's just add this SMS block. There we go. So get rid of this, and then make the disclosure like quite small. Padding, Anderson, maybe even make it like 6, and then also 6. And then also Anderson, and then maybe make it that blue color. And then with the form, add the same styling. So what you want to do is submit, and you also, instead of having this button here, you'd want to make maybe like a skip button. So for example, just do skip, and you want it to just say, so leave this. So when you're creating a skip button, Klaviyo is a bit weird and they don't really have this as an option to sort of skip the step. So just leave it like this. So don't select a list and it will still work. So make sure you just do that. Let me just style it so it looks the same. Anderson, normal, and then the dark blue. Cool, and then just make sure we're same pattern. Cool. So make sure, if you are in the UK especially, and to be honest, the US as well, make sure that you are adding a skip button, because having this, the worst possible thing that can happen is you don't have this, and then they say, no, I don't want to sign up to SMS, and they close the form, and then they don't get they don't get the code, and then they don't convert. They will get the email, but the conversion rates actually drop quite a bit when they've got when you don't have a skip button in your form, or even if you have SMS in your pop-up at all. So what I'd recommend doing is having a maybe separate block in your welcome email asking them, or even send out a campaign asking, would you like to join our VIP SMS club, where you get sort of exclusive offers or whatever that might be. So yeah, there's other ways around collecting SMSs which you can be a bit more clever with. So just be careful with how you use it in your pop-ups. Okay, and then for your submit step, so you've got thanks for signing up, Windsor. I'm just going to redo this. Not in all caps though. Thanks for signing up. Blue. Make sure, okay, so what a lot of email marketers do is they will, oh, it's not working. Let's just use maybe a different picture for this one. So what a lot of email marketers do is they will make people go to their email address, to their inbox to get the code from when they've signed up. And this is something that I see so many so-called email marketing experts do to try and boost attribution within Klaviyo. So what someone would do is, okay, they'll say, oh, go check your inbox to get the code. And then someone will have to then they'll have to go off your website, they'll have to go check their email. The email might not always 100% land straight away. So then it might be in the spam folder, they then might not see it. And, then they've got to go onto that, copy the code, go back to your website, and the customer experience and the customer journey from that is just not great. It's just, so for people who run email agencies, they want to show off, they want to show that they're making the most money from emails, whereas that's just not the case at all. If you actually want to drive proper conversions, you've got to add the code straight away when they sign up so they can copy the code and they can purchase. You want people to purchase straight away. That is your job, when creating these pop-ups, is you want to convert people. You don't want people to go to your email just so you can look better. That's what a lot of sort of agencies do, and it's really annoying to see, but that's just the reality of these things. So what you can do is you can add a coupon. So add it here, style it. So the standard is welcome 20% off. So you can use unique coupons or static coupons, but for now I'm going to do a static coupon. Just drop that down so it's all in one line. Make it the blue. Maybe make the border blue as well. And then, maybe just add a text here that says, so what you can say is copy the code below to claim your 20% off. Brackets, we have also sent it to your inbox. You can also add like some sort of disclaimer saying, please check your spam just in case. I will be going over on another video, basically how to make sure that you're not landing in spam. But for now, we're just gonna keep it like this and make it blue. Okay, and then what you want to do is you're going to add a button under this to basically close the form or take them to your best sellers page or something like that. So you're going to want to just close form, like continue shopping or something like that. So Anderson Grotesque, and then we're going to want to just style it, if I remember correctly on how to do that. 40, and then we'll make it the pink color. Cool. Okay, so there we go. And then just normal. So yeah, make sure that's closed form. Make sure you're adding alt text. Make sure you're submitting these people to the SMS subscribers. If they are, make sure these are going to the right list. So there's how to design the in my opinion, one of the most optimized pop-ups you can make for your brand. So you've got zero-party data, make them feel stupid, not saying no. They have then the commitment fallacy, which is once they've committed to this step, they're way more likely to enter their email address in the second step. So once they've entered their email address, you can choose to do SMS or not. I'd recommend not doing it in the pop-up, but make sure you have a skip option. Once they skip, they go straight to here. They can then copy their code, go to checkout, and purchase. And then also, if they do happen to close it, you've got their teaser there. So for this, so they can always go back to it another time. So now going on to the targeting and behavior. So most of the time you want to target based on like a time delay. So when they land on your website, anywhere from like 5 to 12 seconds is a very good range. So it gives them time to maybe look at your website for a little bit and then they get that pop-up. So make sure you set that up. Make sure, it's all devices. So if you want to look at mobile, this is now, it looks good on mobile. It's going to look good. Make sure, just go through and make sure each step is very clear and readable on mobile as well. And yeah, so when you go to targeting, make sure you don't show to existing Klaviyo profiles when creating a pop-up. So that means if I've already signed up and I go back on, I'm not going to be annoyed with the same pop-up that I've already signed up to last time. So make sure that that's turned on. So yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. I know I just quickly designed this, but I feel like it's a lot better than the one that they currently have, and I'm sure it will convert a lot better as well. But the key thing here is you're collecting zero-party data and you're collecting a lot more email addresses that you can then sell to further down the line. So let me know what you thought, and I'm going to be leaving the link to how to build these sort of pop-up forms in the description. And please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and I'm more than happy to jump on a call. We can build a pop-up together, all of that kind of thing. So, and let me know if there's any other videos you want me to make about email retention marketing. And yeah, thank you.